Your time.
Hablo español como un niño, so I will be speaking in English. Thank you. The moral debate over capitalism and socialism really comes down to one question. Who owns you? Now, in philosophical language, this is the debate between individualism and collectivism. The idea, on the one hand, your life belongs to you, and every individual's life belongs to that individual, versus the collectivist claim,
versus el argumento socialista o colectivista, donde la vida de ustedes pertenece a la sociedad. ¿Quién está primero en ese orden de significación e importancia ética en este debate? Es una colisión de moralidades. ¿Y cómo lo respondemos a esta pregunta? Entendiendo la justicia, la equidad, la dignidad, la libertad y el significado de la vida. ¿Qué significa una vida con sentido? ¿El individualismo qué les promete? ¿Cómo se responde a esta pregunta? Ustedes son un agente libre. ¿Por qué? Porque la vida de ustedes les pertenece. Son los emprendedores de sus propias vidas. Van a decidir cuáles son los objetivos, qué tipo de persona van a ser y toman responsabilidad, la asumen total por los sueños, la práctica de los mismos, el éxito, los fracasos, de acuerdo con los esfuerzos que hagan. De manera que la mayoría de los individuos les van a preguntar, somos adultos ahora, pero cuando éramos chicos, más jóvenes, eran los más orgullosos.
Sense of being in charge of your life. When you were a student and you scored well on a mathematics test because you knew that you worked hard and you earned that A, or on a difficult essay and you figured something out, or when you were younger and you learned how to dress yourself instead of your parents having to dress you, or how when we are young and well-meaning older siblings or parents and we are trying to do something and we are frustrating and maybe we are failing at it, they want to step in and do it for us, but we push back and say, I do it, right? That I will solve this problem and I want to do it. And when we solve the problem, we feel accomplishment and we feel pride. The joy we feel in exploring our own musical tastes, developing our own sense of fashion, exploring our careers and deciding what I am going to make of my life. That is authentic individuality being developed, and it takes freedom and the encouragement of freedom for human beings to develop into fully responsible social agents that way. And I'm sure we can all remember, by contrast, when we are children, how dehumanizing it feels when our parents order us to do chores, or our parents, or teachers rather, give us assignments and say, this is what you will work on. And it may be well-meaning, it may be an important thing, it may be a good thing, but the fact that you did not choose it and that you are being forced to do it, we resist, and that's a healthy resistance, and we shrink a little inside to the extent that we have parents and teachers that treat us that way. The same thing holds for peer pressure. When we have our own mind, but we feel the pressure of others in our social group to conform and do things a certain way. And we recognize that we are making a trade-off between our judgment about what's good, right, and important, and this pressure to do what the group is doing. Now, capitalism is simply that individual morality writ large. It's to say, my life belongs to me, it's my dreams, my decisions, and I take that seriously, right? It's going to be my initiative and my responsibility. And at the same time, I recognize that other individuals have their dreams, their self-responsibility, and I will respect that. So capitalism is morally based on a mutual respect for each individual's uniqueness and each individual's self-responsibility for their own life. Capitalist and individualist parents, that's what they teach their children. Your life matters, what you think. Develop your dreams. Dream big. Don't be afraid to take risks. Try things. You will stand or fail. Okay. Now, socialism also has a moral appeal to people because capitalism gives you a lot of freedom, but it sounds risky, right? What if I fail?
Time's up.
Okay. I'll stop then and we'll come back.
Okay, very good. Go.
Yeah, this theme that human beings are a social animal involves a massive equivocation. Yes, indeed, human beings are social animals, but ants are social animals. Bees are social animals. Lions are social animals. So to say that we are social animals conveys almost no content. We could say, oh, we are social animals, and that means that we should be patriarchal, like the lions, right? And that there's one boss lion who gets to eat first, have sex with all of the females, and every once in a while beats up on the hyenas when they get too close. And so that's a social animal model, but that's perfectly inappropriate for human beings. Or to say that ants are social animals. Obviously they are. But this kind of mandatory deterministic division of labor, and you are born to be a worker ant and you work for the good of the hive, and if you're the wrong, if you're a little female ant and there's the queen ant, she will kill you in order to preserve. That tells us nothing about human beings and what kind of sociability is appropriate for us. The important thing about human beings is that we are individuals. We have our own minds. We can think for ourselves. We need to initiate action as individuals. When we are social, the only moral sociability is based on mutual respect for you have your life goals, I have my life goals. If there is overlap, we will find a voluntary, mutually beneficial way to do so. Any kind of social being concept, and this is always what socialism advocates, it says you, the individual, must set aside your goals, must set aside your dreams, must in some cases even be sacrificed for the good of society. That is a complete immorality and a corruption of proper being a social animal.
Thank you.
All right, I'd like to make am I on? Quick remark, thank you, about sex and to take up this issue about the patriarchy charge. The individualistic morality when it comes to sex, and you think of Western liberal women and increasingly across the globe, where the moral choice is you get to date whomever you want, decide if you are going to get married, use birth control or not, make a decision about what size your family is going to be. That is a moral choice. It is not a historical accident. The three biggest socialist experiments in the 20th century, in the Soviet Union, in Germany, in China, all of them took very seriously collective ownership of the means of production. And that means human beings are the most important resource. And so it means control over people's sex lives because that is how human beings, the most important resource, are produced. And in all three of those countries, our population is too large. You are not allowed to have children. You need to get a license. And if you have too many children, you will have mandatory abortions, or we will force you to be sterilized, or our population is too small. Oh, we want to make it bigger. You may not use birth control. And there will be all kinds of state impetuses to have a larger family. And that's not to mention quality control issues, deciding, do you get to choose whom you're going to marry, or does what's good for society? And we don't think it's good that you two get together because you might produce the wrong kinds of babies. That is a moral choice, and that's the difference between individualism and collectivism.
Thank you.
Give me one. There we go. Good. Yes, approximately 35 to 40 million people living in poverty in the United States. Two things to recognize. The United States' current population is about 340 million, so that's about 12% of the population. It's also important to remember Danella's point that that is poverty by American standards. And if you want to be poor in the world, you want to be poor in the United States or Canada or any of those richer countries. But let me also say, 90% of the poor people in the United States are the fault of socialism. You go to south side of Chicago, south central Los Angeles, the inner cities that are the pockets of poverty, all of them are living on government checks. Third, fourth generation. They get government money. They don't work. They go to government schools where there is no market. You're not allowed to fire the teachers. You're not allowed to choose your own school. The vast majority of the people in those poor neighborhoods, the obstacles to them starting a business, you need to get a $1,000 license, a $5,000 license, or you cannot start a business in your own home. All of these are collectivized socialist regulations that keep the poorest people in the United States absolutely poor. It's a total failure of socialism, obviously.
Thank you for that.
Okay. Wonderful. First, a history lesson then on that. If you look at the history of human beings, there have been in every continent, every ethnic group, every racial group, every religious group, people who have been living in shanty towns, mal-educated. When they get freedom, when they get property rights, they become prosperous. It's happened on every single continent, every ethnic and racial and other demographic you want to consider. Hong Kong went from poverty to riches. Singapore went from poverty to riches. The earliest Americans came with basically nothing and became rich. People who left Ireland because there was zero economic opportunity and went to Canada had the zero wealth and became rich. What you need is a culture of respect for the individual, allowing people to pursue their dreams and to keep the wealth that they have created. That is to say, property rights. It works over and over again. The thing that most people have in the shanty towns is they are not allowed to own property. They do not have a deed to the land that they are living on. They can't make improvements upon it. They can't show that they own the property and take it to the bank and make a loan to start investing in a business. They are kept in poverty because of anti-capitalist regulations. All right, this is a question of morality. Any moral code has to answer the question, what is the most important thing in the world? And the capitalist answer is your life, your goals, your individual dreams, your willingness to stand up for yourself and do what it takes to make your life a success by your standards. And capitalism then morally offers you the freedom. So the moral answer is show some pride, show some jealousy of any of those who would threaten any form of your freedom. Socialism appeals to your fear, right? That I might not make it, and so I want society to look after me. I want the government to look after me. Don't give in to that fear. Socialism appeals to your disrespect for other people. It says, oh, look at all of those poor people out there who can't make it on their own. They need the government to take over their lives and give them everything that they need as a matter of guarantee. Show some respect for your fellow human beings, that with the freedom and the ambition to achieve their dreams, they can make a success of your life. The other moral code element is negative. Beware and be contemptuous of those politicians and those intellectuals who, in spite of the vast record of history, will say, if only you give me power and control, we will get it right this time. And every socialist intellectual I know imagines himself or herself as having the reins of power and to organize all of society according to his or her plan. That's not your plan. Don't let them. It's a moral choice.
Ahora sí, Axel, te pido perdón.